stay a while and listen.
Hello! Sorry for the brief pause in between the music. I'm Ross, joined by...
Saul.
There we go. It's Agony of Positivity podcast time. Once again. If there was a, like the TikTok bumper in the background, that'd be a way to do it. Yeah. We don't have one of those currently, but...
Yes.
I don't know. How's your week going?
Been all right, I guess. No complaints. Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm feeling as well.
Yeah.
My excitement, I kind of mentioned it. So, anyone who's listened, like in the last month or so, there's probably been at least 3 out of 4 where we've had a disconnect on the show from my internet.
Yeah.
So hopefully, they were out this morning. They ran a whole new drop from the pole to the modem because as the technical analysis that the gentleman gave me was, well, those cables are old as dirt. So,
No.
Which I mean is absolutely true because they were the same ones when I purchased the house, which was like 2006.
Yeah.
And they were here when I got it, so they're definitely old. So coax cable eventually is going to degrade, I guess.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Since you are kind of a Bernie Sanders guy, I guess. I've never really cared too much for the guy, but
right.
There's a thing going on right now with this whole Bernie Sanders memes.
With him sitting cross-armed with the mittens.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? You think it's funny? I think it's stupid. Maybe I'm biased because, like I said, I don't like the guy.
I mean, I'm entertained by it. It could have been anybody else, but it was like one person put it. It was like, so why is it that? I'm trying to think what their wording was. I'm going to mess it up a little bit. They're like, so Bernie Sanders is getting a ton of attention because he was kind of sitting distanced from everybody, but it's the middle of winter. And he's dressed appropriately. So it just stands out. I don't understand, but for whatever reason, people decided that was a thing to run with.
Sure.
So, I mean, I don't care one way or the other. Now, some of them are just dumb, and it's people, like, really reaching. But I saw one where they switched out The Undertaker with, like, they chopped up Bernie, so he's tombstoning Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I saw one where he was sitting with the Jedi, which was pretty good. Like, there's been some where they've like just kind of like real subtly put him in there, and it works really good, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, it's like the thing that I found weird is it's like he really wasn't doing anything except sitting there watching. Now I'm going to say this. I don't care who you are, unless you're actually the person who's the president or someone like that. There is no way the inauguration ceremony is not the most boring thing on earth.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, yeah. Well, it's just like anything else, like awards.
Yes.
Or like graduation parties. Yeah, I mean, who cares?
Yeah. Now, if we go like Idiocracy and you have like Camacho Man in a monster truck up there and they're doing like battles like that, you're probably going to get me interested. But I can't think of, like, I'm so glad that the inauguration happens during the day when I'm at work. So I don't have to sit there because I'll feel obligated to at least tune into it for a second.
Yeah.
No matter
I don't think
what, but it's dreadful.
I don't think I've ever voted. I don't think I've ever watched inauguration. Even for the people that I voted for when they win, I don't think I've ever watched it. I don't care.
No, it's because it's boring. Now,
Yeah.
if they had like, all right, it's time for the presidential skill display, and if they're like this year, if they're like, all right, so what's going to happen is Joe Biden is going to juggle chainsaws.
Yeah.
And then he's going to throw one of the chainsaws, and he has to successfully hit the apple off the head of his vice president with the chainsaw. All right. I'm tuning into that.
It's kind of going back to what you said, younger people. I want, you've seen Black Panther movie, right?
Yeah.
I want something like that. So they announce T'Challa here it will be the king of, what's their fictional place called?
Wakanda? Wakanda with a W.
Wakanda, that's it, Wakanda. And then people will either challenge or don't challenge. That's what I want. Joe Biden is the president. Who challenges this? And then you could have certain people, different clans, challenge.
Well, at that point, because I'm okay with like people having like terms as a president or whatever, or Congress or whatever. I don't think they should go on indefinite. But would you give them like a 1 year like once you successfully defend yourself against a challenger, do you get like that's your 1 year and then it's open to challenge again?
Yeah, because I think I've seen it in a movie or something, to where someone had to challenge every year or something like that. Yeah,
I would not be opposed. Because let's see, you know what? Let's add president, vice president. All right, we're fixing. Well, fixing is a loose term here. So we got 52 weeks a year. So we got 50 senators or 50 positions for Senate.
Yeah.
Then we have a president and a vice president.
Yeah.
You know how many that equals? That's 52. You know what that means? Once a week.
Yeah.
Political arena. So I don't care how they decide. I don't know if they want to go because you get two reps per state for Senate. I don't know what we do about the House because they got like a weird number. But so every week you get a battle for one of the seats. Midway through the year, it's the vice presidential battle. And then your Super Bowl, which is on New Year's Eve, is the presidential battle.
Yes.
Now, how we decide it, and I'm not saying I want like fighters to be presidential people. We can still have people who decide to be career politicians. Like so you're basically just watching average dudes in a bum fight is really what's happening. But it's going to favor slightly younger people.
Sure.
Or people who, instead of having all the time for taking money to try to pass stuff, now they're having to train to defend their position if they want to keep it for longer. So you're splitting their interest a little bit.
Yeah. Yes.
The until you get like the equivalent of Ric Flair is your president, the dirtiest player in the game, and he just always finds a way to cheat.
Oh yeah. Well, then there would always be somebody that would be able to cheat, and
Now, do we in this society that is doomed to fail that we have just created at some point, do we allow performance enhancing drugs? Like, can we have do we want them gassed up at the peak of human performance?
Maybe you do. Maybe because that guy wants it.
Yes,
he wants to be the leader. So maybe.
Probably still end up with the most corrupt people at the top, but there would at least be some entertainment.
Sure.
Where it's like, most weeks of the year I don't care, but we got Ohio battle coming up. We got the vice presidential battle. We're like, you're gonna get into some crazy like pro wrestling stuff though, where the person they lost the presidency, but now they fought their way back up. They're going for the vice presidency. Then you're going to have two feuding. The president and the vice president had just feuded, but now they got to work together.
I was a little sad that Michelle Obama wasn't trending a lot with looking like Palpatine with her Sith Lord outfit that she had on.
There were a lot of people who had some weird outfits that they chose to wear. That was like based on like, I don't know if it was based. I guess that's wrong to say, but they were very similar to like characters in fantasy shows.
I did like Jill Biden's outfit. It was very blue. I did like hers.
I did not.
It was a nice color blue. I don't know if you get a chance to look that up. I think you like it.
Let's see. I like that no matter what it is, Jill Biden dress is one of the first things that shows up. Like whether it's wrestling or cartoons or anything else, fashion is apparently what comes to our mind constantly. Oh, that is a nice dress.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good color.
It was a nice blue. I like it.
I definitely did not expect to have our conversation go this route today, but this has been fantastic.
Basically, what I want from my world leaders is a well-dressed person. That's all I want.
I think that's fair. Like, that's not too much to ask. And now, are you going to allow them to break the norms? Because you got to remember, not only did Obama get chastised for his mustard choice, but he wore like a tan suit one day, and people lost their minds.
I don't remember that.
It is very unfortunate. Like, much like, well, I don't know. I would say like Trump with his hair. But seriously, I don't know what's up with his hair. Like, is it official he wears a wig?
I don't know. I've always seen somebody's like, shave your head and just grow a beard. You would look like ancient sea captain. Have you ever seen those photos of him with a beard?
Yeah, I've seen like I don't know if it was really like he grew a beard once or they just like guessed. Maybe it grows in patchy and he just can't handle the, like you were saying, like I don't think he could handle having a patchy beard. Like,
oh yeah. Well, yeah, his ego wouldn't allow that, so that's true.
Basically, everybody in charge has got some kind of terrible thing. Let's see. Do you want to critique some fashion in the wrestling world? It's almost like an award show.
In the wrestling world, I'm sure fashion will come in there somewhere.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna this one.
Well, I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue pants.
This is a revolution.
All right, so since we had the inauguration version of Dynamite, they didn't really do a ton. It was a good show, but they didn't really do a ton on it. It didn't feel like. But they do have this award show coming up. So Saul had the good idea. Maybe we'll go through, like, the voting's closed, but, like, what the awards were and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do that. I do want to touch on the Dynamite. So you watched it this week at all, or did you at least watch the Dark Order?
This week I didn't really watch it hardly at all.
There was, so Hangman, spoiler, Hangman said no currently to joining the Dark Order, which was very weird because I was thinking about this. Like, it disappointed me, but in a very different way than I'm used to being disappointed in wrestling from things that have happened in other companies. Where I was like, I'm disappointed, but it makes sense because he was basically said he was like, I really don't do good with the group dynamic. Is really what it came down to, which is fair because he wanted to try to distance himself from a group, so it makes sense. And they did it like it was a good segment all around. -1 is better on the mic than an awful lot of wrestlers at a 9-year-old. Like, he is more entertaining. It's very bizarre. Because it's like, you know how I feel about little kids in movies where they drive me insane. Like, I'm always worried that it's going to be like that when he's around lately. But he's used very well. And I think because it was his birthday and all that, they're doing what they can for the kid.
Sure.
So I'm not... to me, the segments haven't just been dreadful to sit through. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Now, if it goes on for months and months and it starts to be like, this is just absolutely ridiculous, then yeah, it's going to wear thin. And I'm sure there's people who just hate it all around. But, Oh, one more thing before we get to this. On Dark this week, Luchasaurus had a match with Brandon Cutler.
Yeah.
It was one of the most is kind of a hard word, or too much of a word, but it was probably my favorite Luchasaurus match in a long time. So, considering I bag on him constantly, I just want to say that I want that version of Luchasaurus more. Like, he was the serious one and just was a big guy, and it worked well. So, all right. Just wanted to get those two things were the big things that stuck out to me this week. So for the Dynamite Awards, we're just on the Bleacher Report site for it. Top one here. Best moment on the mic. You want to do this? Like, we'll go through what the nominees are and then what we would vote for?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So first we got MJF, where he did the "We Deserve Better" speech when he was doing like the Moxley feud.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes accepting the dog collar match. Moxley when he accepted the Inner Circle invitation and then turned on them. I was laughing because I was reading what the next one is. Brandy Rhodes confronts Jade Cargill. I cannot imagine a world where that one wins. Orange Cassidy.
Anyway.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy debates Chris Jericho. So which one did you go with?
John Moxley.
Moxley. I think, I'm trying to remember, I think I actually went with the Orange Cassidy one, only because that had such a potential to crash and burn.
Okay.
Like, so I basically, like, risk reward. Like, the Moxley thing, like, if the end result is he gives the Death Rider to somebody, that's going to be a successful segment. The Orange Cassidy one could have been just terrible. And like the other stuff, I did not think the Brandy Rhodes one was very good. But like all the other stuff, it was good, but like it felt more locked in. Like there was that air of uncertainty to me with Orange Cassidy. Yeah. So I went with that one just because, man, that could have been awful. So, biggest surprise. Okay. So Matt Hardy, his debut, which I think we all knew was happening. Jake the Snake confronts Cody. Brody Lee arrives as the Exalted One. Sting's AEW debut. And Miro reviewed as the best man.
So Jake the Snake was probably the last time we had fans.
Yeah, out of all this stuff, yes.
Yeah. So that was kind of, I think, I don't know, because Sting's debut came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like when I'm going biggest surprise, like, did I think it was going to happen at all? And Sting's debut crushes everything else to me.
And it's a shame. Well, it's a shame that all these, there weren't fans in attendance. You know what I'm saying? I think all these would have had, like, oh my God.
Well, the thing is, like, we kind of had suspicion that Brody Lee was the Exalted One. Like, now, Matt Hardy and him showing up at the same time kind of made it confusing. But I think Sting got mentioned about AEW, like, months and months and months and months ago. And then just kind of no one heard anything about it. And they kept that one under wraps pretty good. So, considering the wrestlers didn't know that he was going to be there. So, I definitely went with that one.
Brody Lee's going to win just because of what happened to him.
Right.
I think Sting should have.
Yeah, I think, like, for the trueness to the surprise, I would find it hard to not be Sting's because the fact that they kept it under wraps so well. Unless they were somewhere talking about it that I didn't know about. And not one of the sites where every week they predict that Sting's going to show up and then they eventually are right. Like, not one of those.
Yes. Eventually, we're going to get this right.
Yeah. All right. So breakout star. We got Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, and John Silver. What do you think?
I would have to say probably Eddie Kingston or John Silver.
I
think I voted for John Silver.
Yeah, I probably I voted. It feels like forever ago at this point, but John Silver. I think just because if there was a crowd, I don't think there'd be any doubt that it's John Silver.
Sure.
And his is a more recent surge. You could argue, I think it'd be an easy argument for Darby Allin as well, considering he had pretty limited notoriety at the start of AEW compared to where he was at. He's I think all of them are. You could argue that it's true for all of them. But yeah, I think just John Silver's being the most recent kind of flare up. That would be it for sure.
Sure. I can see an argument for that.
Yeah, that was a hard one to vote. So now we have the same thing. Breakout female. We got Sheeta, Anna Jay, Conti, Big Swole, and Penelope Ford. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it has to be Anna Jay.
I would say so.
And behind that, I would say Sheeta, but in a different way. As far as work rate in the ring, Sheeta's it. Pretty much anyone in the ring with her is good. She makes them, and it has to. I'm convinced at this point, it's all on her. The other person obviously plays their part. What's that?
Well, we both know in wrestling, the best wrestler is not always the most popular wrestler. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's definitely I feel it more with AEW at this point. The storylines that I'm interested in, I don't even care about them. If I could just find out the end result of the match or the story beats of the match, so it's that's fine. I just want to know what's going to happen. Now, other stuff, I'm just I don't think I care what happens. I hope I see something cool. But they've definitely switched me back to that. It was the old days. But yeah, Anna Jay has. And Anna Jay is not bad in the ring at all, especially since she's had 3 matches or something. It's not a very big number, but she does fine.
She's better than Sunny Kiss. I will give her that. Sunny Kiss is the worst wrestler on AEW.
Sunny needs to get mean, is what needs to happen.
Something.
I
don't know.
Someone needs to get Sunny angry before a match, so he just lays everything in and see how it looks then. I don't know. All right.
I don't know. There's something about they need to change up his
presentation, maybe. I still say overall moveset is missing something. It's all none of the moves are oh, I'm gonna get a 2 count. I might be able to beat an enhancement guy with this move. Nothing feels like a power move. If you were playing No Mercy, it would be all light grapple moves. There's no strong grapple.
I think the problem with him is you don't know if he is a comedy act or if he's supposed to be serious.
Well, I think it's supposed to be. Yeah. Well. Yeah. No, you kind of have a point because some of the stuff he's done with Janela.
That's what I'm saying. Is he supposed to be comedy? Is he supposed to be? I don't know. So
right. Yeah. There's something there's something there, but it needs shuffled or something. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Biggest beatdown. So you got Inner Circle jumping Orange Cassidy. We have the Dark Order attacking the Nightmare Family. Nyla Rose when she beat up Rio and Sheeta. Brian Cage's sneak attack on Moxley. And then the Nightmare Family and the Inner Circle brawl. So for myself, I went with Dark Order attacking the Nightmare Family.
Yeah, that was a good night because they just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, that was 100% domination. Yeah. And then you had Anna Jay choke out Brandy at the end of it. That was pretty strong. All the others were, Orange Cassidy definitely got obliterated by the Inner Circle. but it wasn't the same as what they did to Cody and everybody. When they're like carrying out like limp bodies and stacking them. Like,
yes.
I just don't know how that doesn't win. All right. We got High Flyer Award.
Yep.
Ray Phoenix, Mark Quinn, Nick Jackson, and Pac.
Yep.
Who'd you go with?
So it's a toss up between Pac and Ray Phoenix, but Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, I did. I
like the Lucha Bros.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to
I went Phoenix. Only if for no other reason, like he's so smooth with everything he does that it just doesn't make sense to me.
Sure.
Like I can't imagine having that kind of athleticism.
Yeah.
Like Nick Jackson, I am always like honestly both of the Jacksons. I'm always surprised when I watch them with some of the stuff they do, because I don't think of them doing that. It's like, oh, I didn't realize they use that move all the time. So,
Sure.
But I don't know, like the fact that it says High Flyer, like I feel they're more like they do flippy stuff, but like Phoenix is just everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I agree with that.
And then Mark Quinn, I just like if this was 10 years ago, Mark Quinn would obviously be like way higher up, but I don't know. There's not many people you can put up against Ray Phoenix except like maybe Cruiserweight, WCW, Rey Mysterio. Like you'd have to have something like that to compare, I think. I mean, it's within AEW. Like, the guy's just crazy. All right, this one I put more thought into this one than I would care to admit. Hardest moment to clean up after. So we got when Cassidy dropped the juice on the inner circle, the parking lot brawl, the bunkhouse match, and Big Swole dumping garbage on Britt Baker. So where I ran into trouble with is I was thinking about the real life logistics of it. So Orange Cassidy dropping the juice on the inner circle and the parking lot brawl is where I was hung up at for a minute. But so there was a mess everywhere from Orange Cassidy dropping that, but basically they changed out the canvas and they probably had like a rubber piece in between so another canvas didn't get wet or something. Clean that out, get a mop, you're good. Whereas the parking lot brawl, you have busted glass, you have mirrors, you have blood, there's just debris everywhere. So you gotta like move all those cars and stuff, sweep up all the debris. Someone's got to take the cars either to a body shop or the demolition yard. So I went with the parking lot brawl.
So you're gonna be surprised at this.
Yeah.
Because I hate the tag team. I can't stand them. But yeah, I went with the parking lot brawl.
Yeah, I mean, just like the real life, like if I was like, hey, Saul, we have 2 jobs today. One of them is you're cleaning up like 48 tons of orange juice that was spilled. Or see that parking lot over there that looks like a brawl happened? I'm going to have you clean that up.
I'm choosing the orange juice every time.
Yep. All right. We got the biggest WTF moment. Cody Rhodes steel cage moonsault. I will, if people forget, I will remind them that was probably a 78-foot high steel cage as well.
And he broke his foot.
Toes, yeah. Like seriously though, like if you haven't seen that clip in a while, go back and look at how tall that cage is. Let me rephrase it. How unnecessarily tall that cage is. Like there's no need for it to be that big.
Well, I think they all said, "Do not jump off that cage."
Yes, and he was like, "Oh, that's totally not going to happen that way."
Yeah.
Sammy getting hit by the golf cart. Kenny Omega when he got the AEW title and walked out. The bloody Britt Baker against Sheeta. The Young Bucks frog splash off the stadium railing. Now, I'm kind of surprised that Sammy, they gave the golf cart, but not where he took the one-winged angel.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what did you pick out of this?
Well, the moment that was really like, what the hell, was when he almost killed Matt Hardy. But
Yeah.
I understand why he didn't do that.
Right.
I went with Sammy Guevara.
Guevara?
Guevara.
Just call him Sammy.
Sammy, yeah.
You can tell which names I'm not good at pronouncing because I just use the other. I'm sure people have picked up on that. Yeah, I went with that one as well.
Yeah. Because it was funny, too.
Well, when they were chasing him, it was like, okay, that's really funny. And then when he got hit, the way he like spun was like, oh man, that looked really brutal. I mean, there's a strong argument the moonsault off the cage, but that honestly to me was more horrifying because it was like, oh, there's a lot of space for something to go wrong.
The stadium brawl, anything with that, the stadium brawl was good.
Yeah.
I think it's a week. That's going to be hard for AEW to beat.
Yeah, like just like that match in general.
Yeah.
That was
it
was so entertaining.
And that's the funny part about it. I thought it was going to be garbage, but it actually was probably the best thing on that pay-per-view.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they hit the perfect mix of all the characters kind of had like a theme to their segments
Story
that worked real well. They had a couple misses within it, but I mean, by and large, like they nailed like good action with some comedy. Like, I don't know, like it's possible they peaked with that. We'll have to see over time. But so it sounds like we both went with Sammy.
Sammy.
Let's see. So the LOL award, we got the Jericho and MJF, the Dinner Debonair, when Britt Baker was waxing Tony Schiavone, which I forgot about until I read it. MJF kicked into the pool by the Bucks, and then the Inner Circle Vegas trip.
Yeah.
What did you go with?
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Out of all the stuff that's listed, Jericho and MJF.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Like, I almost wondered if they did this so that it's almost impossible for that one to lose.
Yeah.
Because there were things within the Stadium Stampede match that were funnier than that. Like when Hangman was chasing Sammy with the horse.
Yes.
Or honestly, there's been about like 30 things that Hangman has done. Like they could have just done all the key art for Hangman when he walks out. Like just in general, that being part of his I guess it's part of his gimmick. But yeah. And then they have Best Twitter Follow is the next category. You got MJF, Orange Cassidy, Britt Baker, and Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
Personally, I went with... Now, the thing is, I don't actually follow Nyla.
Yeah.
But she'll pop up from time to time, and then I'll kind of like scroll through her Twitter. And she's probably, to me, the best at it. MJF is just mean to everybody. Orange Cassidy just says, like, cool. And that's it.
Yeah.
And I haven't really seen much from Britt Baker.
So I picked MJF.
Yeah.
And this is why I picked MJF. So I do not want to know people's political or personal things outside of their characters.
Yeah.
Like movie stars and stuff like that. I don't care because if it goes against what I believe, then I can't watch your movies anymore. Or I have a hard time doing it.
Right.
MJF, he stays in character all the time.
Yeah.
And
he's just a horrible person to everybody.
MJF his character is a jerk, and he plays the jerk all the time. So I know what I'm getting in. I know if he says something, it's his character and not him. Maybe it is him in real life. I don't know, but
right.
The fact that he never breaks character, I like.
Yeah, or he's just a horrible human.
Yeah, but whatever.
That's fair. Let's see here. We got Bleacher Reports, their moment of the year from the pay-per-view. So Stadium Stampede, Moxley winning the championship, Sheeta winning the championship, Omega and Page beating the Young Bucks, Darby winning the TNT title, and Young Bucks winning the AEW title. So what did you go with, or do you want me to go first on this one?
My Stadium Stampede is what I went with.
You went with? Okay. Now, did you have any thought to it, or was it like, no, this is it?
I think it's the best one on there.
Okay. So, for me, Stadium Stampede was second. I went with Omega and Page beating the Young Bucks, just because that match was so good.
It was.
But I mean, it's like 1A, 1B to me. But man, that match was like, I've seriously probably watched that match 3 times now, which is a lot for me going back and watching matches usually, especially something recent. But I don't know. I don't know if you can have a perfect match and a perfect story throughout a match, but it sure felt like it on that one. Like, those guys crushed it. So that's why I went with that. But yeah, the Stadium Stampede is good in a totally different way. The other stuff, like, they're all good moments, but I just don't think anything comes even close to either one of them.
Agreed.
So I guess eventually we will find out what the rest of the voting world thought on these.
Yes.
And then I'm sure MJF will get a live mic at some point and just bury something.
Yes.
Let's see. All right. And then I think that's about it. Or do you have anything else wrestling related?
Like wrestling related. So I had not been watching WWE, but so are they kind of like making Roman Reigns into like a big boss, like
Yes.
mob boss type?
Well, I mean, he's our tribal chief. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's basically, so the direction it was going when you were still kind of keeping up with it, he's kind of slowly getting a stable.
Okay.
And he's just like a sociopath, basically, is what it really feels like. So it's still good. I'll check out some of it or watch whatever. And I mean, it might be the best thing in wrestling. Like, you could make an argument for that right now. And they haven't ruined it.
I think the problem is, and this has always been WWE's problem. So now you have a really, really good stable heel faction, whatever you want to call it, but you have no really good guy.
Yeah, like, you don't have anyone that you like. Yeah, for me, and I'm not watching it a ton, so I can't, like, what I'm saying isn't as valid as someone who's super into it, but like, I'm more into like Robin as a bad guy, which is basically what many of us have wanted for a long time, is let him try being a bad guy, see how it goes. But yeah, there's not anyone that I feel I want to root for over him at this point.
Yeah.
And again, I haven't been really watching to see what's going on, but it seems like Cesaro's been doing good work lately. Nakamura and Daniel Bryan all. And like, I like Kevin Owens, but I just can't. He's turned so many times already. I just can't buy him staying a face.
Sure, yeah.
Now, match quality is going to be off the charts, so that's not a problem. But I just don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, I think you're right, where they have like this super interesting bad guy, and then the other characters feel bland compared to it. Or they'll have the reverse, where they have like the super interesting good guy, and the bad guys feel kind of bland to it.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I've seen WWE really pull that off was with DX, Shawn Michaels. The good DX, the first DX.
Right.
And like,
I like how quick you are to distance it, that you're not talking about the secondary run that him and Triple H had. Like, you don't want to even be considered that you were a fan of that.
Oh, I'm not. I am not. When Shawn Michaels left DX, DX died, in my opinion. So, yeah. So you had like DX, Shawn versus Bret Hart, because people like Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And then you had him also fighting Stone Cold at the time.
Right.
So I just thought that was a great 3-cycle thing they had going on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would argue, to me as an older fan, like they haven't really recaptured the magic of that era.
Yeah.
Now they've had stuff that's been real good, like the Daniel Bryan having the multiple matches at the WrestleMania, getting the belt. Kofi's run was done real good. Parts of Cena's run were good, but then I'm one of those fickle fans where it overstayed its welcome.
Sure.
So where it was like, oh, I really like Cena when he was a bad guy, and then all of a sudden, like, what is going on? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, you just wake up one day and you're wondering.
Sure.
I mean, Randy Orton's wearing a mask, though. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, Alexa Bliss has burned his face. Or the Fiend. I don't know how it works. I don't know what that dynamic is, but apparently she has black magic now.
Sure.
Let's see. And then, now have you caught any more of Impact?
No.
Or have you been, like, looking for clips of it?
No.
So it hasn't worked on you at all. Like, I've at least been, like, looking for clips of, like, stuff with the crossover.
Well, so the one thing that intrigued me was that at that pay-per-view, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers were all wearing Bullet Club stuff, which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, something... Either they just don't care... They're willing to give free publicity, because Bullet Club shirts shot up in sales. So
I'm sure it did.
And it could very well be that they are willing to give free publicity, even though there's nothing in the works, because they know that it will make the story more interesting. Which
Sure.
leads to, it kind of gives you a letdown if nothing ever happens with it. But it is fun to kind of wonder about, like, how it would work.
Sure.
So, I mean, we'll find out in time. Like, obviously, if there's, like, something that does happen, then great, there is a big payoff to it. If there never is, it'll be like, well, does that make it feel like it could have been better because we were all expecting that than if they had not done that?
Well, it would have been like, and actually, Shawn Michaels did do this. He wore NWO T-shirts all. Now, not on WWE.
Well, no, he came out actually one time in the Outsiders shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, did he really?
Yeah, it was on Raw. He came out wearing it. Because there was, like, the rumor he was trying to get fired, and I think they were playing into that.
Sure. So that's cool. That never had a payoff to it. So yeah.
Right. Other than just So I mean, it can work, but it'll be one of those. Oh, it would have been so much cooler if this happened. Whereas that, I mean, yeah. At the time, I remember, like, we had one guy who had the internet that we watched with, which is funny to think that out of a group of, like, 4 people, there was like, well, we got one guy who has the internet.
Sure.
That sounds completely insane to even think about. That he was like, oh yeah, rumors are that Sean's trying to get fired so he can go to WCW. Yep. And then nowadays, like, if you, like, Eric Bischoff has said once, he was like, I would not have touched Shawn Michaels at that time with a 10-foot pole. Like, just because he was trouble.
Sure.
From his attitude and stuff. Oh, before we finish wrestling, I have to bring this up. So, one of the King Conrad, one of the podcasts that fall under his domain of all of wrestling is with Tony Schiavone for the What Happened When. And they're doing 1986 like old wrestling. Okay. And there is a promo. So Ronnie Garvin, like rugged Ronnie Garvin, is on the brink of feuding with Ric Flair for the title at this point. But one of the Horsemen, so there's been a whole bunch of stuff going on in the show, but this is part of the promo that was cut, is Now, he's talking to Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone, if I took your child, your baby, and slapped it, and then I put it in a stroller, and I shoved it down the side of a mountain, would you consider that a personal attack? Or it was like something to that effect, but it had put your child in a stroller and shove it down the side of a mountain. And it was the most absolutely ridiculous thing I have ever heard. It was like, when it was delivered, it might have been Tully or Arn that was delivering it. Like, I can't listen to it like a couple days ago. They were so intense. And again, I'm just listening. I'm not watching it. Like, I believe that, like, even though it was totally ridiculous, it still came across as, like, deadly serious.
Sure.
But yeah, so if I slap your baby and then I put it in a stroller and shove it down the side of a mountain, is that personal? Well, yes it is.
Sure.
Let me see. So, all right. How are you on time?
I can do a little bit longer. Not too much more, but a little bit longer.
I want to talk about Hearthstone real fast.
Oh, okay.
Let me see here. We're gonna.
I'm in control here, and you're gonna give me what I want.
All right. I used a little bit of the "Give Me What I Want" from Batista there as well, because Hearthstone has actually given me what I wanted. Did you see where they did the whole reward track really turned a lot of people off. So I don't know. Have you been playing hardly at all lately?
I don't think I've played at all this year in January.
Right. Yeah. Like, I haven't even seen you on, but so I would like to say at this point in time. So I have 2 more tiers to go before I hit 50. Okay. Or really, it's like 1.5, and I'll get like the fancy portrait or whatever that I can pick. The rewards track, when you get towards the end part, because every time you get a level, you're getting like 300 gold. Okay. So I was sitting at, before this mini expansion came out, I was sitting at like 4,000 gold or something. And had like 13 packs from all the different ones that I won, however. So by the end, it feels okay. At this point to me, I think. The thing that I was worried about, so that is, like, it still doesn't feel good. I kind of prefer the old way still, but it does seem like the end result for the amount that I play, even though I've definitely played a little bit more than normal just because of this, it seems like it's probably better, but it feels worse, if that makes any sense.
I think, yeah. Okay.
Like, imagine if you're playing WoW and you're playing, like, whatever your class happens to be, and it's like, well, we're going to remove your rotation, and you're just going to hit this one button instead, but you're going to do more damage than you've ever done. You'd be like, well, technically this is better. Like, you can quantify it as better. There's numbers that back it up. That doesn't mean that it feels better. So that's kind of like the extreme there. But that's my thoughts on that. But they did this mini expansion, and they actually released it where you can just get all the cards for 2,000 gold. So you don't have to buy packs and open them. You can just pay 2,000 gold, and you have all of them. You get the 4 legend, like the complete set, basically, like a playable set. Or I think you could spend money, like 14 or 15 bucks for it. But again, you didn't have to open packs. So that is what I wanted, because I did not want to have to sit and open packs. And it was also preventing me from opening packs I already had to try to get stuff. So I have to assume that people are happy with that. I actually didn't check social media or Reddit or anything, because I figured people would complain about it one way or the other. But I think by and large, people would be happy about it. So, like, you've not really experienced any of it, but does that seem fair to you that, hey, we're going to put these new cards out, but you can just get all of them? No questions asked for some gold.
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad.
Or would you say that's better than having to just buy packs and hope to randomly pull everything?
Now, is the packs that randomly pull everything, are they cheaper?
No, they would have been the same cost.
No, that's stupid.
Yeah, 'cause it's basically like at the beginning of the expansion, you would have opened your packs like normal, and then now they released this mini expansion, so all those cards would have been filtered into the decks with everything else. Yeah. So now, granted, they have the like the duplicate protection, so you're still you're going to be able to get some of them pretty easy, but you're still going to have to pull 4 legendaries if you want all the legendaries.
That's dumb.
Right. Or you just pay a flat rate. Now,
Just make it.
yeah. So the question would be so let's say you get back into playing it, or just think of like times in the past. What if instead of having to buy packs and try to pull all the cards, what if they gave you an option to just buy the set? Like, that's it. You just have all the cards of the set. And it was like, say they did away with the $80 bundle, where you got like however many cards, but for the $80, you just got all the cards. End of question. Like, you just had them all.
Okay.
Would that seem better to you?
No, because I would want an option that's cheaper.
To spend less, right? Well, I mean, you could still buy them like normal and just open up the cards and get what you got, but having an option to just you bought the set, that's it. You don't have to worry about getting packs or anything else.
Nah, I don't know. Maybe
I would go for it. Now, obviously, pricing would be a concern at a certain point, but considering they've pushed me towards not spending real money already, like we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention that because that was one of the things we had talked about a while. It's been a while, but just that they gave you the option to just buy all the cards with gold, and I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was more one of those. Well, I was pretty critical of this. I'm going to give it some praise because they did something that I think is a good compromise compared to just keep spending money. Like, oh, great.
Now I did what? No, I did. So I have been playing more WoW, I guess.
Yeah.
I did get my Sorrowbane weapon.
Yes. Did you say you used Mr. GM's guide?
Yeah, I used Mr. GM's guide.
Yeah. So for Sorrowbane, if people play WoW but they don't know about it, there's a 2-handed weapon that's a 180 item level that is in Maldraxxus, Rock and Roll World. And basically, I'll let you kind of describe it a little bit, but you basically do a crazy combination of things to get this sword. But then if you're fresh, like level cap, a 180 sword ain't bad if you can use a 2-hander.
Well, yeah, so you go out throughout the world and buy 2 potions that the times on it, I mean, I think they last for like a minute or something like that.
Yeah.
That increases your strength, which is like, well, this is just pointless. Why would we buy this? And then, secret guys have discovered that it actually pulls the Sorrowbane sword out of the mud, I guess, kind of like Sword in the Snow.
Yeah, like the only breadcrumb to kind of give you the thing is like you have to be strong to pull the sword. Like there's something to that effect. I don't remember the exact phrasing. So I guess like the secret community at that point was like, well, we got to look through the whole world to find things that make you stronger.
Well, my one buddy
assume.
my one buddy thought he wonders if people just look at the code and they discover it like that.
Oh, like there's like data mining it.
Data mining, just saw the code, and who knows?
I mean, that could be, but the what was it? I think Legion had it where there was the dude in the cave where they figured out that there were marbles on a table that corresponded to spots in Azeroth on the map.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was the Waste of Time belt or if it was the the jellyfish mount.
Yeah.
Like it was one or the other, but it wasn't anywhere that could be data mined, and they just had to figure it out. And they figured out crazy stuff. Like when you read through what you got to do to get it, you're like, how would you ever figure this out? Because it involved like having people like in different places to click stuff in a certain order. So knowing they figured that out, where they, to the best of my knowledge, they couldn't data mine it, I have zero problem believing that they figured out Sorrowbane in like 20 minutes. They're like, all right, so everybody go to every vendor that you've come across and write down what they sell, and then we'll figure it out. The only thing I could see is the world, because there's a world quest that you have to do in order to get it. And it's all like, it sounds like you had just completed it and probably didn't realize that you needed it for it. Or...
Yeah, I had to wait a day for it to come back up again.
Yeah. That world quest, so it's the defend the artillery. And it, like, once you do it, you get like a health buff that goes with it. If you're wearing, it used to be if you were wearing 9 pieces of your Covenant set, that quest was bugged out and it would constantly reset on you until you took a piece of gear off.
Okay.
It was really dumb. I don't know how someone figured it out, but that's what was bugging it. But yeah, I was standing there and I was like, every time I kill one of these things, like, it was as soon as you dropped combat, it would reset. And the way the things come in, you're going to drop combat at some point almost. Unless you're in like just a massive group. So, but yeah. So are you pleased with the sword?
Yeah, I wish WoW would do more stuff like that, and maybe they do have it, you know. But
I wish they would have. I wish they would have done something like that for like a staff and a bow.
Well, apparently they are, from what I've read.
Like they're going to, or they have already, and we just haven't figured it out yet.
From what I've read, there's stuff that we haven't figured out yet. From what I've read. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean the sword's like, it's hard to miss that sword because like you're literally right by it for multiple quest lines in Maldraxxus. So yeah, because I would like to play my mage. It's like, oh man, but getting Sorrowbane was so good on the warrior. Like, I don't know. And I chose Threads of Fate, and I think that was a mistake for leveling.
Yeah.
But all right. You got anything else game related?
No, I guess we're done because I don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, it's I haven't watched anything this week, like at all. Like, I mean, I usually don't. Like, I don't watch a ton of stuff. But yeah, so we'll call it there. Oh, go ahead.
The only thing I watched was Under the Red Hood, the Batman movie, which is, in my personal opinion, the best animated movie that DC probably has.
What about
one of the best?
Snowpiercer? Have you been watching Snowpiercer?
No, because I think the principle is dumb.
Oh, my wife was watching and saw the commercial, and I think she's just like, "What? What is that?" And I was like, "It's a train in the snow, and it's the last refuge of humanity on a train that never stops."
Yes.
Like, you may remember this from such stories as Roland and his gang in the Dark Tower stuck on Blaine the Mono that told riddles.
In my opinion, Waterworld is more believable than
absolutely than Train World.
Yes, the Train World. Yes.
Like, I'm gonna be honest. There is a part of me that wants to watch Snowpiercer, just because it seems like such an absolutely ridiculous idea. But I'm truly afraid that I might like it. And there's no way that thing's lasting another season or two.
Well, Sean Bean's in it, and anything he's in is always good. I guarantee he'll probably die pretty soon. So
that's also part of his rules.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it there.
Sean Bean will eventually die.
And whatever he's in.
Yes.
Here we go. All right. Take care, everybody. Social media stuff. We got Twitter at the AOP Podcast. We got email, the AOP Podcast at gmail.com. Or you can cut the middleman out and go to agonyofpositivity.com. It has a little link to send an email. You can just make one up. So we don't know who you are.
And stop making Bernie Sanders memes. My God, move on from it. Let's do something else.
I think that they need to go up in quality. Because right now, I believe the phrase is shit posting, and that's what people are doing. It's like, just because it's a picture with people in a chair doesn't mean that Bernie needs to be there.
Well, I am a little sad. That the sea chanty thing didn't catch on.
I saw.
Or longer. I was kind of hoping that would catch on more, but yeah.
There's time. It's not 100% over. So, all right, everybody, we'll catch you in the future, probably next week, I would assume.
Yes.
Here we go.